I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Oh, good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Blake and Aaron. How are you guys doing?
Good. Happy
Good. How
Friday.
are you?
Yes, happy Friday.
You got some topics today. What do we got going on?
Absolutely. So we've got a few things happening this morning.
Okay.
First of all, some new Omicron numbers are in, so we always want to keep
Oh,
an
yeah.
eye on the lateral flow situation. And what that means for us is we now have some 800 plus suspected cases of the Omicron variant in the Cayman Islands.
Okay. And the hospitalizations, though? Do we know that?
Very, very low. They continue to be 4, 5, 6 individuals. It's very good news.
Yep.
One situation that everyone is keeping an eye on, however, is the fact that the BRAC has essentially doubled their numbers in the last couple of days. So that is a reason for concern.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there is a super spreader event that has occurred in the BRAC. And that is why that is happening.
What was the event?
It takes one thing. Yeah.
What was that event? Do we know?
A church.
Church? Oh, wow.
Yes. So in other news, we have obviously reported.
God will prevent you from getting coronavirus, by the way.
No, definitely.
Some people think they.
Yeah.
Never mind. Moving on.
In other news, we have a hate crime that is being investigated by the RCIPS.
Mm-hmm.
Those investigations continue, and they continue to appeal to individuals to please come forward. So sources connected have indicated that the two men who were victims of this assault are obviously extremely traumatized, and they're just hopeful that people will do the right thing and they will assist the police in their investigations.
Yeah, that's disgusting. No one should ever have to go through that just because of orientation
or anything, or your heritage, or
anything. No, anything,
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's this? I really need to know about these changes at the curbside for curbside drop off at the airport. Are they going to let you drop off or not? Because it's really irritating.
Yes. Well, it has been worked on, as CMR revealed late last night, early morning hours. That story was published. But essentially, we do believe that it will be reverted. Maybe not entirely how it was previously, but some form of curbside pickup and drop off will be returning.
Good.
What was the reason they changed that to begin with? Why couldn't you?
The UK told us to do it.
That's what?
The UK told us to do it.
But in the UK, you can drop people off.
For what purpose, though?
Security purposes.
Security.
In the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
So they just don't want cars pulling up curbside,
dropping off their older family members, so they don't have to walk in the rain.
Are there some security threats that we don't know about?
Yeah.
No, and that's the point. The people who were very, very critical of the change have made is that, in fact, we are considered, risk assessment obviously has been carried out, and we are an extremely low risk jurisdiction for any sort of, threat at the airport. And so the measures simply did not meet the threat level. Like the two are just not,
right.
Yeah. They just don't coincide with each other in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, it's still they can't, because you can't go in the airport if you're dropping people off. So it's still free for you to park because you can't go inside to pay to get out of the parking lot. So I'm assuming they're trying to figure that one out too.
Right. So I think that, the new board of the CIAA is very, very keen to look at this in a realistic way and try to come up with a viable solution. So, that was a bit of good news, I think, as well.
Great. And what duty-free items are increasing?
No, duty-free items are not increasing. So what this is, recently government announced that there's certain items that they would be removing duty off of, and that has now gone into effect. So things like, baby formula, diapers. And
I haven't seen a change on it at the shelf. Have you?
Well, this is the complaint, and hence that headline is not only have people not seen a change, but in fact, on some cases, there's been an increase in baby formulas and diapers and so on. So on Wednesday evening, the Premier Panton did say on Premier Access that what people have to keep in mind is that there could be this increase, and the explanation for it is despite that item now being duty-free, from government's perspective, and hopefully, and this was a little bit like maybe we need to ensure that the grocery stores are actually passing the savings on to the consumers, that there are other things that could actually bump up the price on those items, such as the increase in cost of shipping. So, which is happening across the board, and all sorts of, pretty much everything's going up because of the shipping issues.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, the government is trying to assist with pricing of essential goods by removing the duty from the consumer, and yet those items continue to increase. So a little bit of a conundrum there.
All righty.
I want to promote something really cool that you do, and that is that you just mentioned it, the Premier Access. Explain really quick what you do each week.
Yeah, so it's every other Wednesday, actually.
Every other, okay.
Wednesday evenings we meet with the Premier. He comes on the program, and the show is called Premier Access. And essentially, it's giving everyone Premier access to the Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Wayne Panton.
Pretty
and
cool.
They're able to ask any questions that they want. We try sometimes to kind of keep certain topics featured for a particular episode, but he's very, very open to taking any questions, and it's a real direct line, and people absolutely love the program.
And he's on with you for like an hour or so, right?
2 hours.
2 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really that's really
That's a long time.
something cool. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's every other Wednesday. So
Every other Wednesday.
Was he just
So
on?
He's on this week, which was the 5th. So he'll be back on the 19th.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Have a great weekend, and we'll catch up with you on Monday.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye.
All right. I think with
All right, folks. So in case you're joining the program, you probably noticed a slight change this morning in terms of how we did the show. So we're just tightening up our show elements with 106, because radio is totally different, folks, than what we do on here. So we have a bit more flexibility on a streaming program, whereas radio is like, they got to keep their times very, very tight. So we found that we were running into overtime a little bit with them. So going forward, we're going to jump on with them as they're ready to cue us in, do the headlines for 106, and then we're going to jump back into our regular program. So good morning to everyone, which means now that I'm going to go back and play all of my intro music and songs and so on. So that takes up a lot of time that sometimes we're like playing with, they're having to wait on us and play extra songs and queue up. So just reversing it a little bit. And then I've got some great news and a full slew of things that we're going to be talking about today. So let us kick off the show. So good morning to one and good morning to all. It's Friday. Let's get it.
You're now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips@CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I have no idea where this person is messaging us this morning. So one of the things that we've implemented is that on WhatsApp, we now have an automated message because we have a WhatsApp business line that says if you are not located in the Cayman Islands, do not message this number. We ain't playing with you. Because it says, well, the actual message, let me read it to you and tell you what it says. So it's meant to catch all these spammers that we were getting the other day. It says, please do not use this number for spam. If you're not in the Cayman Islands and not a legit contact, you will be reported and blocked. Do not waste our time. And so, we do have overseas people who are connected to Cayman and so forth. But the ones that are not, we simply don't have time to entertain you trying to scam people. Scammers are a dime a dozen, apparently, and I remain convinced that they are really, quite frankly, they must be making some money at this and being successful at this, because they continue to do it at what I consider an alarming rate. So I'm guessing that this is a numbers game for them. Sorry. The more people they do it to, the more likely they are to find some unwilling and unknowing victim. So we're not that gullible. We're definitely not that person. So step back. Whoever you are in India, Afghanistan, we get them from all over the place. Occasionally we get some solicitations from Jamaica, but normally the people in Jamaica are simply looking for a job. They, they're looking for employment. We're not an employment agency. So I always say to them, listen, not only are we not an employment agency, but there are, they say, well, how do you go about looking for a job? And I said, well, the first step is you've got to find an employer who actually legitimately needs to hire someone. This isn't a situation where someone creates a job for you. It should be a need for an employee. And then you go through the steps of advertising the job and ascertaining whether or not you have anyone locally that is a Caymanian that can actually fill the position. So good morning to Marshall. Good morning, Diamond Princess, Nathina. Good morning, Chantel, John, Olivia. Good morning to everyone. So I've been telling you guys that we are on the cusp of doing something new, which involves us going on the airwaves, like a proper radio show. Now, you guys will remember for quite some time, people have been saying this to me, and I've been a little bit hesitant from the perspective that, I'm kind of like, radio. I wasn't really sold on it. I'm like, who's listening to radio still? And then I'm like, well, I don't listen to radio, but of course, this isn't for me. I'm sitting here talking not for my own benefit, but for other people, because listeners want to be engaged and they want to participate. And so here I am thinking, it's still only old people that listen to radio. And a lot of people are like, no, Sandy, there's a lot of people that still listen to radio. And of course, one of the issues is that sometimes people might start streaming you at home and they want to continue streaming you. And then they are unable to do so because of, they don't have credit on their phone or whatever the case may be. So the good news is we're inching ever so closer to being on a radio show, and it'll pretty much be the same format with some changes, because as I said this morning, radio tends to be a little bit tighter in terms of the time frame. So we're going to still do our 7:30 to 9:30 time frame. That's what we're used to. Obviously, we will still be streaming here, and we're going to just tweak it a little bit for radio audience. So we hope to be able to set up a system whereby we can entertain and take traditional callers on the phone. But you guys know it's so easy to call into this program. You just click on a link. You can hide your camera and boom, you are in the conversation. So it is relatively easy, but there are a lot of people who still want to just dial a number. I get it. I totally understand. So we're looking at our options in terms of that. And of course, it's traditional radio. So those of you who own businesses and you want to get your messages out there, you can certainly advertise on our radio platform as well. So Jennifer, we'll come back to your comment. Ronald, good morning. Wee Maria, Miss Anne. Sharm is here. Vanessa, is that pronounced Kalis? Siobhan, Christine, Daisy, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're just at about the 200 mark in terms of people who tuned into the program. So, of course, we have an accident this morning to report. This is accidents everywhere. So, unfortunately, yesterday morning, there was a fatality here in the Cayman Islands, and it was their first road fatality for 2022. A gentleman, someone sent me his photo and stuff. I don't actually know him. I believe he's originally from Jamaica, but he was married to a lady here for quite some time. Sad situation. I don't know what to do to implore people to try to be more careful. In this instance, as you would have seen from the photographs, that guy actually ran directly into that concrete statue that's at the roundabout, at the Cost-U-Less roundabout. And folks, there's certain situations that you're probably not going to walk away from so easily, and that is likely one of them, hitting a concrete structure. It doesn't take a whole lot of speed to do some serious damage. So it was him and apparently some sort of female companion in the vehicle. She is in critical condition, but she has survived, and he is deceased. This morning, West Bay, this is what our West Bay's detectives, unofficial detectives, Marl Road detectives, are reporting to us this morning. Another quite serious crash. It's I don't know. It's just crazy. It's like that people just don't slow down. So this happened in the early morning hours, it looks like, and ran into a light pole. I'm hoping that everyone has walked away from this accident. We're going to be having the NRA on the program, and they're talking about some of the hotspots in conjunction with the RCAPS. And really, I think a lot of it just comes down to people being cautious on the roadways and understanding that I don't know about you guys, but I have never seen a car in the hospital. Has anybody ever seen a car in the hospital? It's not the car that's going to end up being injured. It's actually you, the person, right? So you're the one who's going to end up with injuries and, potentially dead. So this one split a light pole. The light pole is still standing. Now, I don't know if this would have caused any power outages or anything of the sort, but looks like quite a serious accident. Poor light pole. And again, I've never seen a light pole in the hospital, folks. These are inanimate objects that can be replaced. A car can be replaced. Light poles, thankfully, can be replaced as well. But your life, if it's lost, is not going to be replaced, and your loved ones will feel the impact of that loss. I really implore people to consider how they're contributing to their own early demise, quite frankly. Very sad situation, but we don't have any reports of any injuries as it relates to that particular accident this morning. So as soon as we get some more details, we'll let you know. But it looks like a single vehicular incident ran into the light pole. And those light poles, the wood ones, I don't know. Remember when they changed those out with the metal ones, and a lot of people were upset saying that, what are they trying to do with these metal poles? Because they will kill people more. And what the interesting thing with CUC is they said, actually, that's quite the opposite. Which I always thought was interesting because I didn't really know that. But apparently the metal poles are meant to have some flexibility in them. So they will topple over and collapse, but that's actually a good thing because you don't want them to have so much resistance that the impact on the vehicle is even more. Like if you have a little bend, a little bit of give, it's going to topple over, it's going to fall over. But that's what you want. And I thought that was very, very interesting because a lot of these older poles, they were built to sustain impact, including hurricane force winds and all this sort of thing, right? And so when you hit one of those old wooden poles, you'd be surprised that you don't have any, what's the word that I'm looking for? You don't have any give or any elasticity or whatever. So you're going to either split the pole with the sheer impact or take the pole down or whatever, as you see in that video. So quite crazy, right? Good morning to Mr. Hero Blair. Bonnie's here. Yes, accidents again. I see we have a YouTube spammer. We'll just block them. 2022 is not the year to be spamming people. It's like, get over it. They keep sending out these CNB messages, trying to convince people to click on that link that, oh, you know, we're CNB and you've got to do this, whatever. Don't fall for it, folks. That one has been going around for a minute, and it's called a phishing scam, where they want you to click on the link and they try to pretend like it's CNB so that then they can have you put in your username and password, and they will gain access to your information, you know, to then go in and log into your proper account. So please be on the lookout, folks. Be careful. Like I said, the scamming business has to be lucrative at some level, or I would think that they would stop, you know. So I suppose if they even catch one out of every 1,000 persons, to them, since they're not particularly working hard for it, maybe that's worth it. I find it peculiar because I think that trying to scam people seems like an awful lot of work to do the wrong thing, but they appear to just continue to do it and to just keep at it, which is amazing. So if you get that, those messages come in via text, interestingly enough, which I would have thought, but I don't know about the telecoms, but I would have thought there would be some way for them to kind of block spam messages on the text level, but maybe it's not as easy as I'm thinking. So yesterday morning, there was a little bit of conundrum with Air Canada. So I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Air Canada seems like they were themselves a bit confused in terms of what was happening. So, you know, the Compass initially reported that the Air Canada flights were canceled. We went and we looked at the travel advisory, and in fact, they were canceled. And this was on their website. And then when we started to look at other sites, it was like, nope, that's a mistake. Somebody accidentally posted this message, and it was an old message, and they put, you know, it was a 2021 message, and it was supposed to be it was a 2021 message that had been posted for 2022. So to ignore it. Okay, so then we updated the story, like, okay, it's, you know, it was wrong information, and not only did other news publications say, nope, this is wrong, this is a mistake. And I think a lot of those articles are actually still up. It's very confusing. But Air Canada themselves took to their Twitter account, and on Twitter, they actually said that it was a mistake. So we have the Twitter message, and we thought, all right, well, if someone is going to go to the trouble of responding to a question on Twitter, surely they have, you know, done their due diligence, and the Twitter message might be more updated than the website. So we thought, and this is what it said: Air Canada is not suspending service to Mexico or the Caribbean. Your information is outdated and appears to be from a press release issued in January 2021. So this was from January the 3rd, which would have been Monday. So between Monday and yesterday, this tweet was never corrected. And so there was mass confusion. And eventually we reached out to the ministry, and we were informed that they themselves were confused by what Air Canada was doing. And they had not gotten any direct notification from them, it appears. And so they were then going to try to ascertain, what was actually going on. So here's one headline that said, this was January the 4th, Air Canada says it's not suspending flights to Mexico and the Caribbean after date mix-up. This was the Compass headline, saying Air Canada suspends Cayman and other Caribbean routes. And so then there was some confusion about maybe they were doing other routes, but not the Cayman Islands. Crazy and all over the place. As it turns out, they're definitely, the message on the website is accurate. They are canceling, or not canceling, but suspending their seasonal flights to the region effective from January the 24th. So folks, if you are in Canada, this is sun destinations. So if you are in Canada, be aware of this, because if you need to get back, like we've got people who are there who need to come back to the Cayman Islands, you probably want to sort out your travel arrangements before January the 24th. So between January the 24th and April the 30th, they're suspending some flights to sun destinations, including, and they list them all there, Grand Cayman, Havana, St. Vincent, and so on. So be mindful of that. Companies make mistakes, folks. Although they're a big company, it happens. I think they're slightly, like Air Canada has this kind of sub-brand called Sun, and there's some confusion there. And maybe they have different people handling their Twitter accounts. I don't know. A lot of people actually have marketing people managing, or they have part of their internal marketing team that are the social media handlers, and they do all the social media content and stuff like that. So things happen. Now we've got clarification. The ministry was able to get clarification, folks, from Air Canada directly, and now we know exactly what is what. Okay, so we can put that situation to bed. It was a little bit, we had to rewrite that story like 3 different times. And this is media, folks. This is how it works. It's just one of those things where, you have to be prepared to correct a story or to fix a story as quickly as possible. And no one can say that they're above making mistakes or errors. And obviously Air Canada, had a little bit of a confusing situation there. So, we ensure that we try to stay on top of it. We always try to check multiple sources to make sure that if one source says something, can we verify it directly from the company? But in this case, the company was actually sending out conflicting information. All right. So good morning. Good morning. Let me see. Good morning, Michael. He says they aren't metal, they're concrete. I'm pretty sure I'm talking about metal poles. Let me confirm something, because we might have some concrete poles, but we should have metal poles. Let me see. Concrete. I'm pretty sure I'm talking about metal poles, or the last batch that were installed. Miss Emma, good morning. She's asking for God to protect the people of the Cayman Islands, and you have blessed us with the gift of being our home. Thank you, Miss Emma. Buenos dias to Elizabeth. Omeria, good morning. How are you? Happy Friday, everyone. This is the first Friday of 2022 already. Can you believe it? This time last week, it was the end of the year, the last day of the year of 2021. And some of us were getting ready to bring in the new year with a big bang. Me, I did a little bang. I stayed home and did a little toops of a bang. So yes, they have aluminum, not metal, but I guess isn't aluminum a form of metal? So we have aluminum light poles in the Cayman Islands. Okay. Straight from the source. Good morning to Miss Alice. Happy Friday. Good morning, Corrine, joining us from West Bay. So as you will notice, the headline topic for this morning, and I want to get into this, is that people who live in glass houses should be very, very careful about trying to throw rocks at people. Now, I want to preface this conversation because I need to proceed extremely carefully because this situation involves children. So I do want to, so additional clarification about the poles. So yes, we do have aluminum poles, and they're in the medians on certain highways, like Linford Pierce and so on. And to clarify, they only have lights on them. They don't have any wiring. So thank you very much to our contacts there at CUC who were able to confirm that, because I think that's really, really important. So I'm always mindful, as you guys know, of situations with children, because children are, they're supposed to be our most precious commodity, although the way that I see some of you treating your children and other people's children and neighborhood children, I have to wonder if you accept that they are very, very delicate and very, very precious. And I'm also cognizant of the fact that people do things psychologically, I feel like, that they may not necessarily be aware that they're doing. And so when they do it, and you have all of the facts, you have to wonder, like, that probably wasn't a smart move. And so let me explain what I'm talking about, because I feel like right now I'm speaking in riddles. So yesterday, someone sent me a video clip from OC's On the Record show. Now, as you guys know, I don't really listen to other shows, not because there's an issue with listening to another show. I literally do not have the time. I mean, I am managing multiple businesses, and I just do not have the time in the day to worry about what some other talk show is doing and what they're saying. I just don't have the time. So I don't listen to Mario. I don't listen to On the Record. I don't listen to Radio Cayman anymore. Occasionally, because of the time that Radio Cayman is on, if I'm in the car and I'm like going somewhere and I turn it to 89.9, I might pick up the show, but that is not very frequent. Because a lot of times when I'm in my car, I'm just listening to music, or I have the radio off entirely, right? Or it's just background sound. But sometimes I get a little glimpse of what's happening on the midday show over at Radio Cayman with Sterling. And you guys know I love Sterling. I've been on his program numerous times. And even after CMR started, he would invite me on the program to really talk about, what it is that we're trying to do here. Now, I get that CMR has done things differently. We've shaken up the world of media in the Cayman Islands, and some of y'all were not ready then, and apparently you're still not ready for what it is that CMR does. Now, most people they understood. They now understand what it is that we do, and they understand the boundaries in which we're doing certain things. But some people will still get on their little soapbox, and they want to have the most to say about a situation. There's a number of reasons why that happens. Some people just don't like me, and you don't have to like me. I'm not looking for any friends. I've already told you my dance card. People have a dance card back in the day where you could pick different people to dance with you. My friendship card is quite full. I'm not looking for friends. I'm not even looking for acquaintances, because I am that busy. Like, I don't need anybody else that really feels like, oh, I want to talk to you every single day because you need a friend. I don't need a friend. If you need something that I can assist you with, and I'm happy to try, that's a different story. And, if you want to tell me something, or you need to get something off your chest, then that's fine. That's, I don't normally have an issue with it, as long as you do it in a semi-respectful manner. Like, I don't like people coming at me like they're crazy, because we all know, as a Caymanian, we have that element of the tipping point, and, you'll get a little Georgetown crazy on your behind. So I ignore a lot of things. I get it. I'm in the public space, and, have a thick skin, and yada, yada, yada. So when somebody sent me this video clip yesterday with On the Record with OC, and of course, OC himself, you guys know I like OC. He's a cool dude, been around for donkey years, whatever. Sometimes OC isn't as tuned in with what's happening in the community as maybe the rest of us. And so he started to agree with this caller. And I mean, that's everybody has an opinion. It's like everybody has an opinion, right? You're entitled to your opinion. I always say that you're entitled to your opinion. It doesn't mean your opinion is factual. It doesn't mean that your opinion has a whole lot of weight, but we live in a democracy where you can have an opinion of your own, okay? What you can't do is create your own facts. And so there are people in this community who may not like me because they just don't like me. Maybe they don't like the cute face. Maybe they don't like the cold, hard truth. A lot of people don't like CMR's platform because they feel like, which is what this woman alleges, and I'm going to talk about her specifically here in a second. What she alleges in her comments is, there's media out there who's putting out too much information. You know what is so funny is when you are doing something that people want you to do, right? Even if it's the same method, they don't care because it's benefiting them. So when you're making them look good, when you're helping someone in their circle, whether it's a family member, a friend, or whatever, find a lost dog or do this or whatever, right? They don't have any issues with that. They're the same people, ironically, who'd be happy to give you information. Oh, I'm going to feed you information for your story. I'm going to tell you the inside scoop. But when they get put in the hot seat a little bit, all of a sudden, they draw back and then they want to apply some new rules. And you know me with rules, I'm like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So then they want to apply some new rules, and all of a sudden they come out with this holier than thou attitude. Oh, well, media needs to have certain standards and they're putting too much personal information out there and blah, blah, blah. Well, let me be very, very frank. The only reason why this comment was made, and Deidre, I'm going to beg you in the name of the good man above, don't have me tell the people your real business, because there are children involved and I do not want to go there. But when I have people sending me this clip and asking me for an explanation, you have now, by your own actions, forced me to come on this program and to have to address it, which I would have rather not done. When you live in a glass house, the thing that you do not do is you don't throw rocks and boulders at your neighbor's house who is actually made of Cayman concrete. Okay? And Deidre Seymour is living in a glass house that is made of a very fake facade. So there are those of us who like to walk around, folks, and pretend. We like the pretense of life, right? We dress a certain way, even if it's all fake clothing, fake Gucci, fake this, whatever. We're trying to give a certain impression, so we dress a certain way. And normally I don't care about these things. I'm like, listen, if you want to put on fake stuff or the real stuff or whatever, that's your business. If you're not stealing for it, you're not conning for it, you're not defrauding people, I'm not really business. But we see you. We see you trying to live a lifestyle. This is a general comment. This isn't about Deidre. That you can't afford, because that's what people do in our communities. We see you not being able to pay your bills, but still trying to keep up with the Joneses. This is what people do. I guess this is part of human nature, right? We like to put forward a certain perception, and that perception isn't reality. But in my mind, there are people who really go out of their way to pretend like they're perfect, like their children are perfect, like their families are perfect, and they are happy to really put this image out there of perfection. Well, nobody is perfect, people. Listen to me carefully. Nobody's perfect. The vast majority of us have families and situations in our families that we are not proud of. We've got dysfunctionality. Some of us have people struggling with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, abuse. Many of us have lived in families with multi-generational levels of dysfunction, high levels of dysfunction that include physical, psychological, and all sorts of abuse. Now, I'm not saying to you that you need to go out there and make everybody know what your business is, because, sometimes you yourself can't even deal with the situation. And I get that. I understand that. But what you shouldn't do, is really pretend like you don't have any problems. Live your life, live your best life. But always wanting to just highlight the positive. Maybe, again, that's human nature. But when you get on a public radio station and you start to say, well, I don't like how certain people are putting out all this personal information out there. And then on top of it, you actually accuse them of doing stuff that they actually haven't done. And you're living in that glass house. Honey child, we got a problem. Because then I'm going, oh, Well, I know why Deidre's doing this, because she knows that I know that a certain family member of hers is being investigated for allegedly molesting children. And that she had a role to play in that wasn't the best role in the world, telling that individual to admit to nothing and have nothing to say. Now, if you guys know one thing about me, it is this. When it comes to children, I don't play. I will defend a child with my own life. If I see you in the streets trying to abuse a child or do something to a child, if I get a story about a child being abused, whatever, and I have good reason to believe it, and there's good evidence there, you better believe that you and I are not going to be in the same wavelength ever. Especially when I know that you are part of the cover-up, of the attempted cover-up of abuse of children, alleged abuse of children. I don't know how to explain to you guys, but this is very, very personal to me. I've had too many people in my life, in my inner circle, be survivors of child abuse, of child molestation, and even as adults. And so it is the one thing I could probably forgive you for many other things, maybe even murder. I don't know. I'd have to be in that situation. But this, when it comes to children and anybody who tries to cover that up, this is why we need a sex offenders registry. I am not about that life in no way, shape, or form. And so there are times I get a hold of a story and I know what's going on, and I may not be able to publicly speak on it because, again, if it involves children and early investigation and so on, you've got to tread very, very carefully. But you have to know that those situations make me sick to my stomach. Psychologically and emotionally, it makes me very, very upset. And for an adult to potentially be involved in a cover-up, to me, they are worse than the child molesters and the alleged child molesters. And that's why those cases, when I see them on the court list, yes, they are of interest to me, because despite the fact that we've had numerous governments for the past 20, 30 years in office who have refused to acquiesce to the request to have a sex offenders registry, this is one of the reasons why. Because too many of you all that are civil servants, high-ranking senior civil servants, politicians, all over the gamut, you have people that you're connected to that are predators. So an offenders registry to you is like, oh my God, these people are gonna be outing my family. That's why a lot of people do not support the sex offenders registry. And despite that, we should still have it in place. There are a lot of victims, a lot of survivors, I prefer the word survivors, that are walking around out here that are damaged goods, right? Because of what people in this community has done to them. And there are too many of us that sit back silently and accept this. And not just silently, but there's some people who will play an active role in being an enabler. So let me have you listen to Deidre's comments first. And then I'm going to come back and finish this up.
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to fast forward it a little bit, because at first he talks about, he wants people to come up with solutions on his program.
Caller, Miss Susan. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Happy New Year to you.
Hi, Ms. Dorsey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy
Good
New Year
morning.
to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, I have a thought of a complaint, but I do have a suggestion. So, I never come up and lay something down and walk away.
Oh, yes.
One of the concerns I've had most recently is that when persons, whether known in the community or not, either pass away, they're sick, they've had some form of incident, accident, they become a headline report. And then their personal information becomes part of that report.
Yes.
Personal, private, confidential, medical information. I'm having a real concern with that. I think other members of the community are as well. And I'm going to use Mr. Rankin's case part and parcel because it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole reporting of his accident, his medical condition, details down to what happened in the emergency room, what happened after. I'm telling you that I couldn't believe it. And I shared in a WhatsApp group that it's concerning me that we feel that that is okay. We feel that that is okay as a society, and that people are engaging, because I understand well-wishing wants to take place. But I'm not going to participate in well-wishing where a report on somebody's whole entire personal, private history is being used. If you want to say something happened to an individual, we're asking the community to remember that person in prayer, that's different. But I think we as a society need to move away from, okay, Miss Deidre passed away, she had COVID, she also had this. We understand that this took place in the emergency room. This was said, this wasn't said, she's doing this. She has decided not to do this. She has decided to reject doctors' things. All of that is not necessary. That serves no purpose in this society. It doesn't promote anything. It doesn't do anything at all, except to take somebody's personal information and make it public. And you haven't had the person's consent to do that. So I'm not sure why that has become the norm. And my solution for that is, let us change the way we are reporting, and let us as a society decide we're not going to participate in it, and we're not going to comment on those things, because that is what's promoting it, is because the commentary continues.
Yep.
Well wish to the person, contact the family, say we are praying for your individual, we're praying for your family member. But don't participate in this. This has to stop. There is no reason for it.
Yes.
And it is not headline news.
That is so true, and we see so much of it, and maybe at some point the authorities may need to step in and look into this, because things that are coming out of emergency rooms and things of that nature has to be coming out by persons who are working in there, and maybe that needs to be enforced as well. We see in the UK, for instance, where police officers on scenes have taken photographs of there was a case where two sisters in London were killed in a park, and their photographs were taken, and then racial comments were made about them. Those police officers are now being pursued in relation to that, and we need to look at that. Yes, we need to look at that here. But and the thing is that if people's concerns were more about the person's well-being, that wouldn't be too bad. But they're simply curious because they want to hear the salacious things that are out there, and that is unfortunate.
I understand that if I get in an accident and Deidre has ended up in a car accident, God forbid, okay, but you don't have to get into the gory details of all the things that have happened to me as a result of that accident, how I handle that, what decisions I made, what I said to the medical doctors who were treating me, what my family discussed. That is on nobody's concern but my family and that doctor who were dealing with me. And I think we have, as a society, to decide we don't want that kind of information reporting, because, again, it serves no purpose. We see it happening with the MLAs. Information is coming out on them long before it needs to come out. I'm not sure why. We see it happening with individuals. We see it happening with the elderly. We see it happening with people who are dying. However, she died and she had COVID. She didn't have COVID. He had COVID. He didn't. What difference does that make? Why does that have to be important to other people? Is it contact tracing that you're trying to determine? If it is contact tracing, go to public health department where you should be contacting. This is my concern. I was in touch with Ms. Deidre. I understand she passed away. I have concerns to my family. That is how we need to do these things.
Yes.
And we as a society have to ensure that we do not participate in things that we find wrong, morally wrong. I find that morally wrong, because I'm telling you, it is okay when we're doing it to others. But you see, when your shoe changes feet, and our heart changes head, it isn't so pleasant anymore.
Okay, so let me just end it there. What she said in that last bit is so interesting about participating in things that you see morally wrong. So let me try to understand what you're saying, Deidre. If I'm to believe what some very close sources are saying about your situation, and you trying to cover up and not participate and not assist the police in an investigation of, a accusation of child abuse on very young children, does that mean that morally you see nothing wrong with it? That's why you're not participating? Help me comprehend what that really means if we're to flip that back on you, okay? So OC says, things that are coming out of emergency rooms. I would put anyone to the test, right? and trust me, this is 1,000% factual, to tell me one thing that CMR has ever reported that has come out of an emergency room that only the medical personnel would know, because he seems to be implying, based on the example he gave about police officers and whatever, that it is the physicians, the nurses, the administrators at the HSA, that they're the one who provide information to CMR. And that's a ridiculous comment. And, I hope good old OC doesn't take any offense to this, but that is an absolutely ridiculous comment that is completely false. If you're in an emergency room setting, folks, believe me, there's no such thing as privacy in the Cayman Islands. When you go into the doctor's little room, he might say things to you that hopefully no one else can hear. But even in the emergency room, in the waiting area, there are tons of people sitting there with you. Okay? You go into the area where they'll put you in a temporary bed. There are other people in there. You can be talking, and in bed next to you, there are other people having a conversation and overhearing your conversation. So let's not throw the HSA staff or any medical staff under the bus, because that's absolutely an absurdity, if you ask me. Now, Deidre seems really, really concerned about people's personal information. And there's a couple of things that she said, politicians, information getting out there about them before it should. What would you be referring to exactly? What information before it should? I had a thought about this, and I'm thinking to myself, let me think. We reported recently that several MPs, including the minister, Jay, had tested positive with COVID. Before that story went up, we spoke to him. He was okay with the story going up. We spoke to Isaac. He was okay with the story going up. We don't have an obligation to speak to either of them, to be quite frankly, if the information we have is 100% accurate. So do you think it's the hospital employees and staff who are saying, they're COVID positive? They're COVID positive because they did a lateral flow test that said they were COVID positive. So who knows the lateral flow results but them? And then they tell other people. We had just regular citizens on the street from Cayman Brac, how that story came to light, contacting us saying, Minister J is positive. He was just here in the Brac. Do we have any need for concerns? Because he was attending a meeting, et cetera, et cetera. These are regular people who know your business. And this is where you live in a glass house, and you should be extremely careful, because I know your business. And there are other people who know your business. And for the sake of trying to protect children, I have not really said anything. But when you sit there and you try to come on with this holier than thou attitude and try to give us advice on how to report certain things, you probably shouldn't do that knowing your situation, right? So we contacted the minister and said, Minister, there's this rumor in circulation. And by then we actually had confirmation from other people that yes, because he has an obligation to tell other people, whether it's his chief officer or others, that yes, I'm positive, you might want to go and get tested. None of this is personal information, folks. When somebody's in a car accident, well, they have car accidents on public roads, in case you haven't noticed. Okay? They are in the hospital. Let's take Mario, for example, because again, OC says, we don't really care about Mario, blah, blah, blah. Well, ordinarily, we don't care what Mario does and what he doesn't do, whatever. But as a Caymanian, from one Caymanian to the next, we would never want to see anything happen to Mario. He has a family, he has children, he has loved ones that do care a lot about him. And so we don't wish anything ill on him as an individual. He is a public figure. He has decided to put himself out there. So yes, if he becomes ill, if something happens to him, that is the expectation, that it will be reported. Everywhere else in the world, politicians get sick, they put out a statement. The UK, the US, all over democratic societies. Even Cuba, as much as they want to hide, they'll say, Castro's not doing too good. He has cancer. He's not well. He's getting treatment. He's going to Europe for treatment, blah, blah, blah. It's only in the Cayman Islands that we have this idea that we want to hide everything. And you know why you want to hide everything? Because you live in a glass house. There's a reason for you wanting to hide your dirt. None of that information is considered personal. In the situation of Mario, one of the reasons actually that we had to address his condition and what happened to him is because there were a lot of unfortunate rumors circulating that the cause of his injuries were because someone had assaulted him. Do you not think that it's proper and correct journalism to actually put out information out there that says, no, that isn't correct? Yes, he had head trauma, which is very, very serious. He had these injuries. But at the end of the day, those injuries were associated with his fall. Now, apparently Deidre wants to run for political office. My God. The streets are saying that in 2025, she intends to run. I don't know what district she's planning on running in. Maybe she's been talking to Alden. She's going to take over Red Bay. I don't know. Or try to. Let me suggest that if you're a person who has this attitude, that what you do is your business, and you don't want people reporting on you before you're ready to put it out there, don't go within 10,000 feet of the political arena. It ain't going to work for you. No. That's not going to work. Let's take another example, Mr. McKeeva Bush. You guys know Mr. Bush has made his fair share of mistakes, and we have had to call him out on it. We were the first ones to report back in, when was that, 2019, that he had assaulted a woman. I think it's 2019 or 2020. I can't remember now, but whatever it was, 2020. We were the first ones to report of that incident. Let me understand your logic here. You're saying that, we should wait until Mr. Bush is ready for that information to go out there? Say what? Come again? What sense does that make? I don't know what you're talking about. You live in public. There are certain things that you can expect to be reported on you. You know, politicians, I'm going to church, I'm a family man, I'm this and that. And when you engage in behavior that contradicts that sort of stuff, of course it's going to be reported on. Even business people. Look at the New York Times, The Economy. All these newspapers will report on Jeff Bezos when he breaks up his family because he's cheating on the wife with some former news host or whatever she was. The details of his divorce settlement, how much money that woman is getting, what she can go to the bank with. She's now the richest divorcee, well, before the Prince of Dubai, or whatever his name is, the ruler of Dubai the other day. She was one of the richest divorcees in the entire world. And they give you the breakdown of everything, what the settlement is and who's going to have access to. He's not even a politician. He's a business person. OC and Deidre, this is how the real world works. Now, I don't know what OC is thinking or what his motives are. I mean, he's old school, so I don't really expect much from these guys who are in their 60s and 70s and beyond, because they're part of that clique, right? Of the old boys network. Let's protect them at all costs. That's why Edlin Miles can get appointed, and we still have people defending that ridiculous behavior like Linford Pearson. I love Linford Pearson, mad respect in certain instances, but Linford is the last person who should be talking about people on board appointments. Okay? But the old boy network is all about protecting each other. That's what they do. No one will ever get a foot in the door. If you're a young woman, definitely not if you're a woman with a mouth and brain of your own, you're not getting in there, because this old boy network is not designed to accommodate people who want to think on their own, who will be able to call out, even if I like a person, that this is wrong. So Deidre, you were happy to always send CMR information and, look at my family, look at what we're doing here, all this positive stuff, until I start to get wind of an investigation involving the allegation of abuse of children. Now, I've never said anything to you personally about it, but you know that I know, and I'm sure you've heard my comments on the situation. You know, there's an old saying about it's better to keep your mouth shut when you're going to say something stupid than to open it and remove any doubt. To me, this was not a very bright move on Deidre's part, because of course everybody knows she's trying to take a side swipe at CMR. And despite the fact that I don't listen to OC's show, people are sending me the clip. Well, Sandy, what is this all about? And now here I am having to get on the show and address it. Now, y'all know that as of this morning, that the allegation on the streets is that Deidre is involved in a cover-up where children have been allegedly abused. And I can't tell you any more than that. The police have investigated the situation, but likely because of her role in it and trying to cover it up, nothing will come of it. And she'll be able to say, well, no one's been arrested. What is Sandy talking about? Just because someone isn't arrested doesn't mean it didn't happen. The vast majority of children in this community are subjected to abuse, and they have no justice. No one is ever arrested. No one is ever held to account. The perpetrators are allowed to continue to go on for many, many years and abuse and molest other children and other victims before they're ever really stopped. And that's a sad indictment on us as a society. We're not the only society in which that happens. By the time someone is arrested for child abuse, they have had, I forget what the average number is in the US, but they've had a slew of victims. So even if we decrease that, given our small population size, the point is they don't get arrested most times the first time. And they definitely don't get convicted the first time. This is a repetitive behavior. And when you have people in your life who are enablers, rest assured that they will feel empowered to continue to do what they do. And sometimes we're enabling people because they're family members, because we ourselves are narcissists, because we ourselves are dysfunctional, or because we're trying to pretend like we have this perfect little life. And so we want to get on a platform on public radio and try to talk about, well, people are putting too much information out there. Well, we would know why you wouldn't want certain information to come out about you and your family. That's all I'm going to say. Louis, good morning. Joining us in Detroit. Blessings to you. Cayman Princess says it's Cayman culture way. We all do it. All do what? Enable abusers? Let's be very specific this morning because we ain't about that life. Good morning, Miss Sue. Marshall says the information is not necessarily coming from the people that work there. It came out from the people or their family members. So I disagree with that. Absolutely. I mean, OC should know this. The man worked at immigration for about 50 million years. And he would get complaints all the time when he was head of immigration. Oh, this one's cheating with so-and-so husband. You better deport them, blah, blah, blah. It's not necessarily that it's from some official source. People themselves talk it. Or in the case of Mario, right? Unfortunately for his incident, external people had to stop and give assistance to his children. So then they will call their friends. Oh my God, you know what happened at Mario's house today? I was driving by and I had to pull over. I had to stop. Oh, wow. Then that person said, it's Chinese telephone. And yes, CMR is built on the very foundation of Chinese telephone, and we have never denied it. Now, in the Cayman Islands, Chinese telephone can be extremely accurate. And we go out of our way to try to ascertain and obtain the truth whenever possible. So right now we're working another story in the BRAC. We're going to drop that after the show. But you'd be surprised how that information has come to us. It's always somebody who, I heard this. And, you know, the good sources will say, Sandy, I don't know if it's true, but this is what I'm hearing. So yesterday we heard that Mario took off without permission from Health City. Now, her comments would have been before that incident. So I don't even know what she's going to have to say on OC's show today. She might be calling back like, oh, how did the security guard from Health City call Sandy? No, donkey. That's not what happened. Okay. A facility like that has tons of patients and people sitting in the lobby. And when the alarm goes off, they're like, oh, what's going on with the alarm? Oh my God, Mario has left through the back door, through the side door. Other people hearing the commotion, patients going, ooh, what's the commotion? And somebody calls Sandy, or somebody sends Sandy a private message. That's how it works. You think the CEO at Health City is going to be like, oh, is this Sandy Hill? I've got a tip for you. Mario Rankin just left and he didn't have permission. And by the way, he's COVID positive. And for those of you who think that your COVID status is supposed to be something private, you have an obligation to notify people, and not just public health. Your employee, your employer, the reason why you can't go to work, oh, I'm COVID positive. When you're not at work everybody's like, oh, well, boss, why is Sandy not at work today? Because we got a lot of stuff to do. We need her help. Yeah, she's away for 14 days. Even if they don't say she's COVID positive, you're like, oh, 14 days. Yes, okay. It's not brain surgery here, folks. But like I said, there's some people who can't help themselves, right? It's like, I'm going to put myself in the line of a bus or train to get ran over. It's almost like reverse psychology, where they know they're hiding something and they live in a glass house, but yet they're going to put themselves right in the line of fire. Because nobody wasn't really saying that about Deidre and her situation, because I was really hoping that the police would be able to, in this instance, arrest someone. But oh boy, do I ever know how those investigations go. So I was just quietly waiting and watching, and but your conscience is a hell of a thing when you know what's going on in your life. So much so that the last time I saw you, you couldn't even look me in the eye. Your conscience was bothering you so much. Zambula says, is this the woman who walks with a stick and the next minute she gone and walk with it? Her daughter's hands. Oh God, let's not go there. Marshall says, she said it's morally wrong. Does she have any morals? Well, this is a question that I have. And I think when you use words like morality and you want to question someone else's morality, you should be so incredibly careful with such terms. Because, when you're questioning my morality, I'm going to come back and say, I'm not claiming to be the most moral person in the world. Listen, people, I curse. I don't drink, but I curse. Sometimes I have the mouth of a sailor. It just depends on what kind of mood you get me in. And I'm going to pop off and say certain choice words, right? Do you consider that morally apprehensible? Okay, then that means I got a morality problem. I don't drink. I'm a married woman, so I'm not fornicating all over the place. But was I potentially involved in premarital sexual activity before? Yeah. Is that morally apprehensible to you? Oh, wow. Don't shoot me, but I'm going to be honest. I enjoy sex. Whoa. I enjoy food. I enjoy, what's the point of pretending and lying? I'm a good little Christian girl. I'm not going to have any sex with anybody. And then you're running around doing stuff. So I don't know what her definition of morality is. But I think when she decides to throw that term out there as it relates to the job that we have to do, then it becomes a situation where I'm looking at you going, morality. You'd never get me to cover up and tell someone, don't admit to anything. Don't tell the police anything. I would say the morally right thing to do is to be honest with the police, son, or anybody in my life. You did it. I need you to be honest with the police. Tell them the truth. If you didn't do it, you're still telling them the truth. You have nothing to be fearful of when you tell the truth. There will be consequences for your action, folks. But the morally right thing to do is actually to be honest. Debbie says ignorance is bliss. Wee says the truth hurts and people don't like when you talk the truth. Well, that's for sure. And that's one of the biggest issues here, It's that CMR is a truth teller. Yeah, we give you, that's what the Mall Road is all about. Because remember the old Mall Road of yesteryear. And again, OC is given his advanced age, he would know this, the story of how the Mall Road worked. You go to the Mission House in Bodden Town, and they explain to you the girls who used to go on the Mall Road and catch the news. So their job was to deliver official news. Okay, the boat's coming in to deliver food on this day and that day and da-da-da-da. But along the way, they also collected the unofficial news. Who having a baby? Who's having an affair with so-and-so? All these things. And then they brought that back to the mistress of the house in Bodden Town. So she not only knew when, okay, I can expect groceries next week, Wednesday, because the ship is on its way and Parliament is meeting at Pedro Castle, but she also knew all the gossip because that's the friggin' Mall Road. And people shared the gossip on the way. You go and sit down with any Caymanian for more than 5 minutes and you can get some sauce about something or another. That's who we are. Why are we pretending and denying who we are? Sophia says, Miss Sandra, what you're saying is true. More time people are so embarrassed to hear what other people know of them. It's real 100%. Yes, the CNN anchor. Another one, sexual allegation. Did you guys see that one where there's a guy who was part of the team there? What's the brother that got fired because he was helping his political brother trying to cover up his hot mess of a life? And then it came out recently that someone on his team there at CNN has been arrested for molesting boys. You think in the States they're going to be hiding that? Oh, I'm uncomfortable with that. And I think that's their business. So I don't even want to know. He's not even a public figure, but you know what? The States, one thing I got to love about America, they going to put your business out there. You are a person of interest to the police. You're not even arrested. They're going to name you. Y'all need a reality check. This foolishness about covering up stuff in Cayman is stupid and ridiculous, and we need to move away from it. And it makes me uncomfortable when I hear people in a position like OC who potentially can influence people engaging in this conversation saying, oh, yes, the police might have to get involved. What police? Seriously? Como and the two Como brothers. That way the one from CNN had to get fired. Covering up. Too much foolishness. Contact the police. What are the police going to do? I've said this before. There are times that the police do contact us and say, can you please not publish this information because it's going to interfere with our investigations? We never want to interfere with the police investigation. So in those instances, if they give us an explanation, it's no problem. Recently, I can't even tell you guys what it is because it's an active investigation, but when it develops, I'll circle back to this. The police called and said, you have something up and we need to ask you to remove it. Now, the police already know when you ask me to remove something, you got to give me a reason why, and it has to make some kind of sense to me. Otherwise, that just not going to work. And in this case, they called me on the phone. They had the complainant there, the victim of the situation. Two officers said, Miss Sandy, this is why. This is what's going on. Okay, I understand. I get it. No problem. I'm willing to assist you. I don't have to do it. They can't force me to take nothing down. But I understand. I got you. If it makes logical sense and I can understand what's going on, I have no issues with assisting the authorities and complying. And there's certain times when they don't want information to get out there too early, and I get that. Christine says, they're Kokoti. And if you're not Cayman and you don't know what that means, go look it up. Thank you for calling them out. Marshall, she lives in Barton Town, so maybe she's running for John's seat. Now, y'all know me and John. Not been no friends from day one. But she not taking out John. No, and no. That not gonna happen. Keep your government job, honey child, where you continue to collect a nice salary and nobody not gonna question what you're doing for the salary. Louis says CMR was built on the premise that it will be the voice of the voiceless. CMR is number one. And we're also, the name is Cayman Mall Road. So if you haven't gotten it by now, that yes, the whole premise of news reporting on CMR is we're not going to just give you the sanitized version. If there's additional information, we provide it. That's the Mall Road. That way it's called Cayman Mall Road. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Debbie says mic drop. There's always a reason people want to cover things up. Yes, and oftentimes there's a reason why people are trying to come at you sideways. But like I said, I expected Deidre to have a little bit more sense because I had been extending courtesy to her in a way that a lot of other people would not have gotten. Because y'all know I get on here and call out child molesters every single day and I tell you all about them. So sometimes you leave well enough alone. You let a sleeping dog lie, Deidre. These are all pearls of wisdom that as Caymanians we grew up with. Right? Let a sleeping dog lie. What's the one about the fleas? Don't stir the pot if you're not ready to take what's coming out of it. Cayman Princess, we need offenders. Oh my God, do we ever? And we also need people to stop pretending and living this fake life when they know they have child molesters in their circle. What happened to Mario yesterday, or generally speaking? Well, he had an accident. And then yesterday, apparently, he left the facility without being checked out properly. Like literally just pulled out his whatever, IVs or whatever he had in him and just left. Tried to go through the front door. They said, no, Bobo, go back to your bed. And then apparently he left through another unauthorized door, setting off the alarm. I don't know how far he would have gotten, though, unless he had somebody come to pick him up. It's kind of weird. Debbie says 50 million years, girl, you're killing me. Yeah, he's been around for a donkey years, that's for sure. But again, the good old boys network, no matter how relevant or irrelevant somebody is, they will always be protected when they're part of the good old boys network. They get the jobs, they get the hosting gigs, they get, have you realized that in this country, right, the number of talk show hosts that we have had in the vast majority of cases have always been men holding down the seat, regardless of how incompetent they are. Because some of them I listen to and I'm like, me, I'm rolling my eyes going, Jesus, I can't listen to this anymore. Let me change the dial. They always get their positions because, I'm friends with so-and-so and I was cabinet secretary and I was this and that. And so even when they bring on expert guests and whatever, who they bring on? All these old men. They're all still 50 million years old. Yes, we all talk publicly, privately, everything. No, sir. Cece talking about how do I enjoy sex but don't want to give Gigi a sibling. Girl, try and go sit down and behave yourself. Because I can only afford the one child. I'm too old. Maria says, love you, Sandy. Thank you, Maria. And not everybody. This is what I was just about to say. The truth hurts. And the program here this show is called The Cold Hard Truth. So there's a reason why we address certain things on this that maybe, might not even be on the website or whatever. It's the cold hard truth, y'all. It is what it is. And if you can't take it, then you have choices. You can go listen to OC and hear what he got going on over there, trying to cover up and hide stuff. It's so funny because people want to say, well, government is hiding stuff from us and we need access to information. But then on the other hand, when it's not convenient for them, it's an inconvenient truth, right? When it's not convenient for them, well, this is too much information. Who ever heard of too much information? Thank you, Natasha. Morning, Erica. Marshall says they picked up the news and then the dirt. Yes. No, sir. Cece, I'm not even taking you on this morning. Marshall says the police can't even handle Laval, let alone anything else. So I guess you guys would have seen by now that yesterday morning they did go and pay her a visit and actually escorted her away. Thank God for that. So she put on her clothes. Why does Laval keep changing clothes? Has this occurred to anyone? I mean, this is where the level of planning her constant excursions and protests is really different. I don't normally see protesters who show up with a change of clothes. Now, let me finish reading your comments. I'm going to tell you something I find very interesting about that. So yes, Marshall, we're going to come back to that. Sue says you are best in real news about everything. We wouldn't know anything except for CMR. Well, we're not in the business of hiding. I don't care who you are and whatever. It's equal access, right? Emma says, especially when you're reporting on persons with COVID, everyone should know. We never know who they have been in contact with, that they may not even be aware of. The man standing behind them in the coffee shop, A.L. Thompson's, a restaurant. Yeah, so in her comments, if you go back and listen to it, Deidre suggests that it's up to public health to do the contact tracing. Well, we know how well that's been working out. Poor public health. Nona says, was he found to be positive? So he was positive at the point that he was admitted to the hospital because, you know, they have to take all these, they have to lateral flow test, not lateral flow, PCR test you before they put you in the ward. And so they need to know your status, because if you are COVID positive, it's not like they're going to kick you out of the hospital, but they have to treat you cautiously. So yes, he was, I don't know why people think he caught it in the hospital. To me, that's a little bit weird. Like, why would you think that? But the truth of the matter is he had it. Maybe he didn't know he had it. Maybe he knew. I mean, I don't know. Only he can answer that, but he definitely has it. Delcy, good morning. She's looking to get her booster shot. Good for you. Good morning to Alice. Says, for how long? Give her a week or two, and she's back out there doing the same. Well, yes. So let's talk about Lavelle a little bit. This went on yesterday. All right, folks. So some of our WhatsApp comments. This person says, CMR ain't for the weak, that's for sure. And with those kind of skeletons, she best keep her ignorant mouth shut. And then they go on to say, Lavelle wears the same nasty stuff over and over again. Well, she seems to definitely have a preference for those shorts that have become a G-string and tooth floss. So she shows up, as you can see, dressed in different attire, and then she changes her clothes into the Batty Riders and performs all day long. So yesterday they finally went and arrested her. I don't know. Let me correct that. I don't actually know if they've arrested her, but they escorted her away. I'm waiting for the police to respond so we can find out if indeed she has been arrested or what the situation is. Now, one of the interesting things, folks, is someone said to me yesterday, by the way, Sandy, is Lavelle still married to Officer Marriott? And I said, who the hell is Officer Marriott? They said, but Sandy, how are you running Cayman Mall Road and you don't know that Lavelle was married to an officer, a police officer, and that's where she get the last name Marriott from. And I said, oh Lord, I said, here, you know. So they said, is she still married to this police officer? Yes, the same unemployed go-go dancer is married. Her name hasn't changed. So I don't know if they have separated, divorced, and she just hasn't gotten rid of the name. But apparently, the person says, if I remember correctly, when she first started with her BS, she was married to either current or previous inspector. So we have to find out if he still works at the RCIPS. Y'all, police officers, y'all love to message me and say, hi, Miss Sandy. Let me know, does Inspector Marriott still work for the RCIPS? We can find that out later. And they say, and as you know, she has passed mental evaluations, refused medical, etc. And so I can't comprehend how or why she is still allowed to do what she does. Honestly, I hope I'm wrong, but as far as I know, that's how it used to be when they were lenient with her. He told officers that she was mental. Yep. What a mess. So anybody can tell us for sure, does Inspector Marriott still work at the RCIPS? What is this video now? Is this morning again? This is this morning again? Wait now. Update. Oh, Lord have mercy. Is she out there again today? Y'all need to lock this woman up. She's trying, y'all. She is really trying the police. Let me confirm if this is this morning, and then I'm going to show you guys this other video. She is trying you all and making, oh, that was yesterday. Okay, all right. So I'm assuming they arrested her because this woman really making y'all look stupid. The RCIPS, we've had our differences of opinion. I trying to work with y'all, but there's certain situations that really make you look less than competent. And I know it's not the officers out there, because trust me, they're doing the best they can at what they got normally. It's management saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, do this, do that, whatever. Look at this.
Nobody my trust. 10 years this ago. 10 years it's sanctify and holy, can look at it. Untouched. 10 years untouched. I come in the office and I pack up something them proper. Pack up my things then, so me expose. Or yourself. I don't see exposed yet. I don't see so no exposed. You think I'm not exposed? The whole of we are exposed, yeah. Look again. Look again. I'm going to take another look. And see how much we exposed. The whole Cayman Island is exposed. Hey, everybody in the Cayman Island, they are exposed, yeah. And I'm alone below sea level. All of we exposed.
Lord have mercy. You hear the woman saying that her privates haven't been touched in 10 years. Maybe that's the problem. I did tell y'all that I'm a woman that enjoys sex. Yes. Let me tell you something. Sometimes your problem is you ain't getting any. All right? And that'll make you a little bit crazy. So maybe if it hasn't been touched in 10 years, which I don't believe that, because the woman had boyfriend the other day, talking about that's her holy part. That's not holy, child. That's not holy. Not holy about that. But if you valued it so much about how it hasn't been touched, why are you so open to us having it in front of our faces? Let's put it that way. Why? This don't make no sense. Listen, if I am a holier than thou, you not touching my parts and blah, 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 you also not going to see it? I going to be like a Muslim woman. I'm covering that up with the holy cloth of Jerusalem or something. But here you are skinning out in front of the government building every single day, pulling it up into the butt crack for a reason. Woman, please. You must be crazy now talking about that I've been touched. Cobwebs? Well, that's your problem right there. You need one good man to just, child, that can solve a lot of problems. Now, I ain't got no volunteers, but there gotta be somebody out there. Any of my Jamaican friends, my brothers, maybe sisters, brothers and sisters, willing to assist Lavelle? Crack that nut, that 10-year-old nut. She might feel better. Because, you know what we say about the Jamaicans? A lot of Caymanians, it's sweet, it's sweet, it's sweet. Well, she's a Jamaican, so she would know. She would know what we're talking about. I'm pretty sure Inspector Marriott, not no Caymanian either. So much drama. Yes, Cara, what a mess. She's like, we're only 7 days into the new year and it's already full of drama. Yes, it is. Y'all love drama in Cayman, Let's be honest. Whenever we talking about a little extra sauce and drama, we had almost 400 people in the live this morning. What do you think that about? Right now it's 350. Why do you think that is? That's because y'all love drama. Y'all love the sauce. You love the really, really, really cold, hard truth. The days we talk about something soft and like, oh, let's educate ourselves. I got to see how it go with the book club. I want to see how many of y'all got tuned in when we start having a book club. Those are the days that y'all like, yeah, the show all right today, but then I really popping off. I'm not going to be messing about you, boy. You better tune into Sandy right now. Just as, wow, the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall into place. Quite literally, right? Woo! Miss Sue says she looks like some top model come down those stairs. Child, don't be insulting the top model franchise. No top model. Mr. Woodrow, how are you? Says, wow, I'm done. LMAO. Can I tell you guys something about acronyms? Sure, Rainbow says, Lord, you kills me. Listen to this acronym, right? So my daughter has been saying OMG TY, right? I hear her saying it a couple times now, and obviously everybody knows OMG means oh my God. And so I'm like, what's the TY for? So yesterday I was talking to a friend, and I'm like, I don't know where, she's like, oh my gosh, Gigi's so smart and you have to really keep her engaged and whatever. And I said, yeah. And sometimes she says stuff that I don't even know what she's saying. I'm like, what does that mean? So I said, she's been saying OMG, but then she says TY onto it. And I'm like, what the heck is TY? And the person's like, Sandy, TY is like, thank you. And I'm like, OMG, TY, thank you. Oh, I had like a light bulb moment. So my 5-year-old is using acronyms that I don't even know what she's talking about. I'm just like, what? Perla says that it must have spider webs. Oh my God. No, sir. All the stuff that they screwed and nailed into the asphalt, that will have to be removed and result in potholes. Clinton, which stuff are you talking about that was screwed into the asphalt? Screwed in where? Alice, yeah, child. Sometimes the truth is entertaining and it's funny, and sometimes it does kill us. But if her comment about that not being touched for 10 years is true, something wrong with her. Like seriously, and that's your problem. We are human beings that God has created to very much enjoy sex. Don't y'all be making people lie to you. That's why when you are suppressed, that's when you start to have issues. I don't think there should be anything as a priesthood where those people are not having sex if they want to be priests. If you want to be priests, get married. Be able to enjoy. That's part of who you are, folks. And for some of y'all, it's 99% of who you are. The sexual part makes 99%. Do what you got to do. Sure. Oh, ridiculousness. Marshall says she's long overdue for a touch-up, and that's why she gone crazy. Child. Wee says, let me get my little air horn. I need to, my little stream deck here. I need to get this updated, but Wee says that CMR is on fire today. There we go. By the way, once we're on air, we're going to be able to have you guys call in a little bit more too. Woodrow, child, trust me. Hot mess. CC running. El Rey says the pom pom from East End will fix her up. Which pom pom from East End? Who that is now? WhatsApp me so I can message him and tell him go talk to Lavelle. CC says land of wood. Woo! Y'all are naughty. Oh, Woodrow said I need to go into timeout. Let me spank myself. Yes, sir. Debbie says I need to go into comedy. You missed your calling. OMG TY. Gotta start using Gianna's little terminology now. Next time I said I'm gonna be like OMG TY. But she was saying it together, and I'm like, OMG TY, what? Marshall, Kara says if it's true, somebody finally touched her boy. Do you know? Whoa, child should be stalking him till death do you part. I'm telling you, that's why you don't wait that long, because then it makes you crazy. Cece got to speak on behalf of East End people. Miss Daisy says, girl, you were killing me this morning. It's a Friday. Why not? First Friday of 2022. Let's kill it. Let's get it. My goodness. So Kara came on to hear about Mario. I'm like, hey, like what WTH is happening here in Cayman for the new year already? Feel like I'm in a damn dream. Well, I don't know what's going on with Mario. So someone messaged and said the correct medical terminology is that he left AMA against medical advice. Well, based on the version of the story that we got, not only against medical advice, but when you're COVID, you can't just be walking out like that when you're COVID positive. If you're not already in isolation, or, you know what I'm saying? There are public health concerns about what he did. So someone has said on WhatsApp, sex, ? Humans are one of the few of God's creations that have sex willingly and not just for reproduction. Yes. And you'd be surprised how many people, oh geez, on peace. Another video. You'd be surprised how many people don't know that there are a couple other creatures that do not have sex or procreation at all. It is for pleasure. You know, primates are connected to us as much as you don't want to believe it. 99% similar DNA. But that 1%, let me be very, very clear now, that 1% is a significant change that makes us very different, right? But primates, monkeys, chimpanzees, a whole bunch of them, they actually engage in sexual activity for the fun of it, not for procreation. They love to play with each other. Go read up on them, child. They're a bunch of horny little things. And not only do they do it for enjoyment, like sometimes they start to like groom each other and picking each other, and they're picking off all the little bugs and whatever. It's all part of like foreplay and sexual gratification. I'm going to educate y'all on something today. And you know what's also interesting? Now, I know CC not going to like this comment, but I want to tell you the truth. Primates also engage in same-sex activity all the time, actually. And there have been people who've researched them, and they recognize that sometimes it's a power play situation. So to just please the other person, to get in their good graces, right? You engage in sexual activity with them, although it's two male chimpanzees, gorillas, monkeys, whatever. Alice says, Sandy, we need you in Banaka. Lord have mercy. Play the video again. Make me laugh, says Sure Rainbow. Well, here you know, we got another one for you. It gets better, apparently. I haven't seen this one yet, but here we go. What a heat. What's your bunk going over like that for?
You can't change it. 85 days not be on the front, right? That's all. And you can't change that. Sorry.
Okay, that's how she does it. I was wondering, you know, I was like, what bush or bathroom is she going in to change clothes, but she's just putting it over. I don't know why I thought she was taking all that off and then putting on the dress. I see now. So it's just a cover-up outfit. Those of you who have helpers, you know, when your helpers come to work for you, they do that, right? So they don't want to be seen in the street. Like they have separate work clothes. When they come into your house, they go and change into their work clothes. They do their work, whatever. And then they change back into their street clothes and then, you know, go catch the bus or go home or whatever. So that what Lavelle doing. So her work clothes is that outfit. And then you see her covering it up there. What's with the wiping down though? Didn't she just come out that morning, had a bath? So why she was wiping herself down? That was a little weird for me. Anybody know what that's about? I don't know. Somebody may say maybe you got a split personality disorder. These things do exist and they're serious things, but they don't really exist in the way that she's exhibiting them. So I don't think that that's what it is. But anyway, Jonathan has a solution. He's going to take OC's advice. OC said, don't come on here and just complain to me. I want your solutions. Well, here's a solution from Jonathan. Jonathan says someone needs to build this proper go-go bar that he keeps talking about, where she might have a job and she'll be able to, and she will be behind some thick walls where people would have to pay to see that. But Jonathan, what happened to Roper's place? I mean, is that still open where you got the go-go girls and stuff in the back? And whatever. You put in little dollar bills, the dollar bills and their little G-strings and whatever. But you see, the difference is, Jonathan, nobody not gonna hire her. How many of y'all would pay to see that? Be honest, Jonathan. You talking about your go-go business, your 3G, 4G, whatever it is. You're not paying that. I mean, you're not paying to see it. That's not what you would find entertaining. In fact, you'd probably run out the door and demand a refund if you saw that up on stage. So that's not going to really solve the problem because no one is going to hire her. Debbie says, would a Caymanian be allowed to do that in front of a Jamaican government building? Child, please. Woo! That'd be headline news in Kingston after they shoot you dead on the government steps. Oh, no. Oh, she said she had to wipe her sweat. She's sweating that much already? El Ray says it was delay tactics. No, honey child, that would not happen. Listen, them Jamaican police officers and their military force don't play with you, you know. Remember the one pregnant woman that they shot dead a couple years ago because she back talked to them? So I can't remember what she said. I think she might have used one of the bumble words or whatever. And they just shot the woman dead. The woman's pregnant. I was like, oh my God, who does that? They were like, listen, in Jamaica, this is a different place. You start cursing at the police, we think the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to escalate into we don't know what, so we can just shoot you, not let it go that far. I'm like, damn. Their officers are at a different level. Marcel says she had to dry the sweat. Sweating already? I mean, you just got to work. How you sweating already, girl? I mean, I expect you to sweat after an hour of your gyrating that you do, but you just got there. Perla, are you referring to Jonathan's suggestion? Oh, Jonathan says she could be the sideshow. Oh, I get it. So it's like when you go to the circus and there's like a freak show and, you know, they don't allow these anymore. But back in I guess the 50s and maybe up to the 60s, I don't know if it went into the 70s, it's no longer considered humane. But you always had people who were different and they'd be like, oh, let's put them on for the freak show. We now know that that's just not acceptable just because somebody's different. So it looks like Jonathan is saying that in a go-go bar situation, I don't know what be going down in these establishments, but he says sometimes there's like a little sideshow where maybe the person has like 2 private parts or something. And so that's like interesting. Like you wouldn't want to admit to your friends that you really wanted to see that, but you're still there for it in the dark when nobody can see you. And you might even slip them a little extra 100. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Cara says pelt her down with $1 worth of 100 of 1 cent. No, Cara. Would a Caymanian be able to do what she's doing? She said, Cara says, no. The question is, Debbie, would a Caymanian be able to do what she's doing in front of her government building without any consequences? No. And I would hope that any Caymanian would have more pride than this, honestly. You notice that, in fact, a Caymanian has never done what her and the Cuban people are doing in terms of out by the government building with all these disgusting signs, whatever. And if you think that our people don't have a reason to protest, you better wake up. Lots of us have reasons to protest. Unemployment situations, abuse, and you know, unfair things at work, and can't get any used assistance, and you can't eat, and you can't pay your bills, and oh yeah, Caymanians have a reason to protest, y'all. And yet, not a single one is out there doing that. So interesting. What a mess. All right, let me see what else I had on my agenda today, folks. So I was actually going to talk about this situation now with, this is quite sad, with a hate crime in the Cayman Islands. And this is really, really quite a serious situation. We understand that 2 men attended, I guess they were at some venue in the Strand, minding their own business, doing whatever. And 2 other men perhaps overheard them and, you know, decided to assault them because of who they were, because they're 2 homosexual men probably minding their own business and not bothering anybody else. Now, I don't know how many ways to tell you that this is wrong, but wrong is wrong and wrong is wrong. Okay? You don't attack people based on who they are, what they look like, who their mama is, the color of their skin, none of that. Your sexual orientation, it is your business. And that's not a reason to throw slurs at someone. And it's certainly not a reason to physically assault someone and to break somebody's nose. This is reprehensible, to be quite honest. I never thought that we would see such a thing in Cayman because I've never heard of such stories before. I've never heard of anyone in our LGBTQ community being assaulted. Now, I have been told that it has happened before, but I have never heard of it. So to me, this was quite shocking. Unacceptable. So what I would say is this isn't who we are. You know, whatever your personal opinions are about the LGBTQ community, whether you are in support of them being who they are and loving them as individuals, or you feel like Deidre, this is more, you're going to use the term morally reprehensible when you should be morally upset about child molesters in your life, allegedly. Regardless of where you fall on the spectrum, if you're going to be a Katina Anglin that's going to take it to court and try to fight against these people to have rights, you still don't have the right to assault them on that basis and actually break somebody's nose. This is horrible. And I somehow thought we were better than that. Because Cayman is, oh yeah, that person gay, that person doesn't, whatever. But we're not people who do that. I've never known us to be people like that. Carol does make a point though. And Carol, I thank you for reminding me of this horrific murder of Frederick, is it Bees? Is how his name was pronounced. And I had the opportunity on more than one occasion to spend some time in Frederick's company. And he was a really nice guy. And she says, remember, he was actually murdered. And it appears like his murder was related directly to the fact that he was a homosexual male. So Carol, I stand corrected for my faulty memory. And his vehicle with his body in it was burnt. So he was murdered and then disrespected in a very horrific way. The irony of that case is the young man who's in jail for his murder, the young men, because it was two of them. One of those young men actually engaged in sexual relations with Frederick. So this is where I go back to saying, Caymanians are really sometimes quite stupid. And I can say this as a fellow Caymanian. So you want to talk about this moral compass that you have. Ooh, we don't like gay people. So I'm going to kill him because he's gay, but yet you just had sex with the man. You had sex with him because your DNA was found in him. So these are the details that make us go, huh? Now, y'all might not be paying attention to these cases, but this is what it is. That's a fact. That's not speculation. Now, I'm sure Deidre, they're listening. Oh, well, we don't need to know that. That's too much. That's a matter of public record, folks. You went to court. You got to unfortunately hear it. But this is what happens when you live in a community where the messages are pretend to be this, because society will accept you more and society will like you. Right? Maybe the young man, well, he's engaged in sex with another man, so he's either homosexual or he has homosexual tendencies. Now he's locked up for probably 30 years in prison. I'm sure we know what he's doing up in prison and they're not having sex with a woman. I wonder if Jeffrey's his bunkmate. But, the point is, when you grew up in communities and churches where they're like, no, you can't be gay, you can't do that. If that's who you are, that is who you are. You have to accept who you are and live your best life as a good person. Being gay has nothing to do with your moral compass. It doesn't make you a horrible person or anything of the sort. But these are the messages that we have had forced down our throats. Like we are, what's the little birds that they force feed? And then they make it into the foie gras dish or whatever. What are the birds called? So, this is what happens. we create homophobia in people around us, which is completely unnecessary, and it leads to situations like this. So thank you, Carol, for reminding me of that, because I had truly forgotten, and that was really a horrific situation. Deep Blue Sea says, usually it is the case that people who are overly homophobic are doing so to overcompensate for their own sexual insecurities. In other words, they're trying to play off that they're straight and just hate gay people. And that's a fact. I ain't calling no names, but there is a person, a very public individual, who has expressed very anti-LGBTQ comments over the years. And when I hear people mention the story about him, the stories of, oh yeah, he might be 1,000,000 years old now, but we remember back in the day when he used to live with a man, and there's always questions that I'm like, Miss Debbie says a lot of homophobes are in the closet or on the down low themselves, and that's a fact. Facts. Y'all know it. Yes. It's the same sort of, in my mind, psychological thing that Deidre was doing. You want to jump on your soapbox and talk about morally apprehensible and overshame. That's because it's a little close to home, isn't it? It makes sense in a way, Debbie, because again, they want to portray this image that is completely false of, oh, this isn't who I am. And so in order to do that, I have to be like Bible thumping against gay people. And then on the down low, you the same one messaging gay people, oh, can I come see you tonight? Because my private parts can't go 10 years without a little bit of attention like Lavelle's. Can I come and see you? I just want a little 12 o'clock visit, a little quickie, a little 10 minutes, and then I go back home to my wife and my pretend life, and I can go to church on Sunday. Yeah. Let's say under the sheets. Marshall says, I hope they catch these animals and lock them up, because no one should attack anyone because of their lifestyle. And yeah, I mean, and you know the irony of it? Y'all not attacking child molesters. It's not funny. People out there molesting your children. No, you're going to defend those people. You're going to protect those people. Those are not the ones that you're breaking their noses. What a conundrum. All right. It's wrong, and that's all I can say about it. Disgusting. The CMEA, which is the Cayman Islands Music and Entertainment Association, has issued a reminder, a stark warning, folks, that if you are a foreign DJ, do not go out there moonlighting and pretending to be legit and working in these establishments, because that is actually against the law. Well, why is the CMEA even saying this? Well, because this young man has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after he stabbed somebody else. So the allegation is, his shirt say him fresh. The allegation is that what his name is? Sekoy? I don't even know, y'all. How y'all expect me to pronounce all these names? Lichmore has stabbed a man in what the police allege is an attempt at murdering him. Saku, I think that's how it's pronounced. Lichmore, aka DJ Mario Brook Bad Guns, was arrested on January the 3rd for an incident that happened last Sunday night at the DJ booth bar. 29 years old. No, he's 30. His victim is 29. So of course, him and his lawyers are saying it's defense. What do you call it now? Self-defense, and that there's more to this story than meets the eye. All right, we'll hear it in court. But the CMEA has said, hold on a second here. We don't know anything about this Saku Lichmore applying to us to get a endorsement from us, because apparently this is how it works, to then have that added onto his work permit. Well, The reason why that would not have been the case is because obviously he working illegally at these establishments. That's why. Now, these establishments need to get their act together. It is unlawful, illegal for you to hire someone without the proper authorization from immigration. So even if by day he works as a construction worker, for him to work part-time for you, even 1 day a week as a DJ, you need to sort out his work permit situation. That should be a secondary work permit. So you're sharing the work permit. So, a lot of people don't believe in following the rules, and this is a problem. So the CMEA said, let us remind you, Caymanians have a choice of whether or not you want to be a part of the music association. And we encourage you to join and blah, blah, blah. We know there's been tons of drama there. But if you're not a Caymanian, you don't have a choice. That is the requirement. You're supposed to approach us and then we endorse you or not. And so I think what they're getting to, the point that they're making, is that had they had an opportunity to vet DJ Guns, maybe he would have been one that they would not have endorsed and he would not have gotten a work permit. And without getting the work permit, then he would not have been there that night and been able to stab up somebody. And CMEA says that, when you go through the correct process, you allow a certain amount of vetting to happen. And that vetting process ensures that you get professional musicians and professional DJs. And not only, I feel this little sneeze coming on. And not only do you perhaps get someone who's more professional, but you're helping the Caymanians stay in the industry, as opposed to having a million foreign nationals moonlighting as DJs when they really should not be. Sicko. That's the name? That's how you pronounce it? Sicko Lichman? Sekou. That's Sicko? Or Siku? I don't know. Whatever. Sicko. Yeah. So, yes, point is taken, CMEA. And it's a stark warning to everyone who owns a bar or restaurant to please follow the rules. Airport curbside service. So some of you will be so happy to see this. I ran into an elderly gentleman the other day, and he said to me, Miss Sandy, I want to talk to you about this airport situation. I was like, oh Lord, what airport situation now? This curbside drop off and pick up just not working. I said, oh, what's going on? Oh yes, and Natasha says CMEA and immigration, like the rest of us, also these flyers and billboards, and can follow up or check their status. Why wait until the type of incident to speak out or up? 90% of the hairdresser boat cruisers are in violation of their work permits. Hairdresser boat cruises. That's funny. All right. Okay. Anyway, that's you made me chuckle there, Natasha. So, curbside. So the old man said, Sandy, you need to talk to someone about this because this is ridiculous. I said, okay, I understand what you're saying. I said, okay, I got you. Understand. Because, when you're elderly and you might need assistance, either you're in a wheelchair or a walker, or you're just elderly and you can't walk as far as you used to walk, having to park in short-term parking and then go over there with all your suitcases. It's a lot, even for young people, having to drag those suitcases that distance. And so it seems like a hot mess of a situation, but a solution may be on the horizon. So big shout out to Mr. Johan Moxham, who's the chairman of the CIAA board, as well as the management there at the Owen Roberts International Airport, which is all part of the Cayman Islands Airport Authority. That's the management. They are working on a solution to have curbside service in some form or another for travelers to return after it was halted last year on August the 31st. So the source is that apparently the UK, I guess in conjunction with the governor's office, because he does pass along UK directives to us, they're the ones who thought that this change up in curbside service was a good idea for security reasons. Lots of arguments against it. You know, Caymanians don't like to get wet. You're all like, listen, if it's raining, I'm not going out in the rain. I don't want to be caught in the rain. I don't want my hair to get messed up, my makeup to get messed up. I'm trying to travel here. I don't want to be drenched in the rain. And I've seen people come out and it's raining and umbrellas blowing all over the place, and the airport authority doesn't have umbrellas for people. And of course, they didn't know when they traveled from halfway around the world that when they got here, that it was going to be raining and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, it is an inconvenience. And I don't even get it, because Miami International Airport, one of the busiest international airports in probably all of the United States of America, you can still do curbside drop off and pick up. Now, you can't be parked there forever. You got to keep it moving. So whenever I go, you know, when I used to be in Miami or even Tampa International, sometimes you had to circle out a couple of times if your passenger wasn't ready, but you're doing curbside and they have security walking up and down. And I don't understand how a big international airport like that cannot have these restrictions put in place. And then my sources have shared that the cost of implementing this, it wasn't going to come cheap. Apparently there was an associated cost that could be anywhere between like $5 and $12 million to us. It's so funny because the UK wants to dictate certain things. You must do this, you must do that, but they're not paying for it. So whatever changes would have been required, infrastructure changes to accommodate this, they're like, yeah, you spend the money. We're going to tell you what to do, but you're going to spend the money. Come on, UK, what? And I haven't been to the UK, but anybody traveled to the UK recently? Do they have this? You can't do curbside drop off and pick up at their airports? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, the good news is it does look like there's a solution on the horizon. So I think everyone is pretty much happy about that. Folks, guess what? First Friday of 2022 in the bag. We did it. We had a good one as always. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the program. Love and appreciate your support. 2022, we are claiming 2022 as a year of immense growth and success for CMR. You guys know every single day we have been pumping out our daily news buzz. It is popping off. Let me share the link with you guys, the one from last night. It's going well. Listen, growing pains. We are tweaking. We're learning. We're doing, equipment tripping you up, equipment mic not working. We are getting there. But big shout out to Misha. It is coming along very, very well. So last night's episode, 12 hours ago, already has 2.1 thousand views. I'm going to share the link with you guys so you can go watch it. This is a fantastic segment. And basically, we are giving you the news headlines of the day in a condensed format so you know what's important. Last night's was, how many minutes was this one? This one was 7 minutes and 22 seconds. We're going to probably get between 10 and 15 minutes eventually. Just your top headlines, local headlines, regional headlines, international, U.S. news, boom, done. You got news in 10, 15 minutes. If you don't have time to read the website till the weekend, you're still not behind in your news. So go check it out. Aliana says, nope, they're not doing it in the UK. Louis says, how's the drone photography coming? I'm getting my commercial license soon to sell my service. Oh, that's nice. I don't think Marlon has even had time all this week to pick up his drone because he's really busy with work. He works full time and, so I honestly don't think I haven't seen him pick up the drone. This week, I likewise have not been, I've not been, I have not even been out since the weekend on the pickleball court. So, this weekend, I will get out there and I'll start pickleballing. Now, Gigi, she's into it too. Let's go play pickleball. But her version of playing pickleball is you might get lucky if she actually makes contact with the ball. But you know what? That's okay. She's only 5 years old. She might not be a Serena Williams, but go outside. She likes to do her little cartwheels. Yes, pick up the racket. You'll eventually learn to play pickleball because your mama's going to put you into some competition once you reach about probably 10 years old. You better be able to play pickleball with me in my old age to try and keep me fit. So thank you. Louis says 2022 growth year. Those seeds are germinating and the sun, and we are getting it. I'm so excited about everything that's on the horizon for us. I'm really pushing the envelope in 2022, folks. Every year I kind of improve and do a little bit more. But this year, I got a good, solid list of things that I'm going to be working on, and I'm bringing it home. That's all I can tell you. With the good Lord behind my back and Lovell nowhere to be seen, the haters can take multiple seats because we are doing it around here. And people are loving. I mean, the amount of messages I have got from people like, oh my God. Oops, sorry. Hold on. Who actually really love this segment. They're like, oh my God, Sandy, this is a great idea. And I said, you know what? Sometimes you just got to do it. You might not have all the resources that you want and all the budget and the money, whatever. But, on the low key, we are doing this in the most budget-friendly way possible. And thanks to the advent of technology and the technological advances, we are able to really pull it off and to make it happen. And thank you, Misha, because I assist right now with certain components of it. Eventually, Misha will be doing the whole production on her own job. And you know what? I'm only but one person, so I can't be the front camera for everything. So it's great to see another face. And I'll say it. I've said it already, and I'll say it again. If you are a young Caymanian, an old Caymanian, whatever, and you think that you have something that CMR might be interested in, you want to do your own show. We're in talks now with King in the UK about him doing a podcast on CMR. Listen, folks, there is room for growth, and there is a lot of scope to be inclusive, and you can have a voice if it makes sense with what we are trying to do. Link me. All right, that's it. Friday. I'm going to go meet the premier now because he's actually doing a donation to some young kids. So I've got to get there on time, and I need to go get that done. So I wish you guys a beautiful weekend. Please be safe. First weekend, let's not have any more fatalities. It's already sad that within the first week we've had our first one. Let's be safe. No drinking, no driving, no smoking weed and driving. Stay home if you're going to drink and drive. Stay home if you're going to smoke weed in the comfort of your own home. Yeah? Have a beautiful day, folks. See you guys on Monday morning at 7:30.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.